Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Justine. You look 1,000% better, like so much healthier.
Thank you. I feel finally so much better too. Yeah.
And you're like from my era now because you got the shoulder pads.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm gonna look more like a boss today.
Yeah,
Get out of my
you got the
sweatshirts.
Sigourney Weaver vibe from Working Girls.
Oh, I love that. I love
Do you
that.
love that movie?
I love that movie.
That my favorite line in that movie is when Sigourney Weaver goes, "And I am, after all, me."
I love it. I need to watch that again. But Colleen, where's all that beautiful art behind you? You usually have so much work.
It's sold.
Woo! Congratulations.
I have a few left, but I'm like on my way to another festival, like at the end of the week. So I just don't even unload it.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Look at you go.
I know. Have
So
fun.
what was it like? I'm just gonna go through like some questions and we'll just like shoot back and forth with them real quick, okay?
Yep, I'm breaking up, aren't I?
A little bit. It's okay though. Let's see
Okay.
if I ask if it'll kind of like smooth out, usually does. But if
Okay.
when what was like life like before we started working together 2 years ago?
So I'm going to start at the beginning. So when the pandemic hit, I started painting the minute we got shut down because I seized the opportunity. Then I knew I wanted to give it a go, try to get into some galleries. Got into a couple galleries, really bad experience, and joined something called Art Storefronts where I met Mary Carroll, MC, and she told me about you. And we were both struggling a lot with this Art Storefronts model. And she goes, "Well, I am with I Am Code, and I think you would be a perfect fit." So you and I chatted for a minute, and we figured out it would work out. Found out a way where I could afford it, which was great. And then it just sort of, you know, with all my scatteredness, it helped me kind of focus a little bit more. It made me kind of stop and look at what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and how to ground and how to find the center of why you're doing it. And then to move on from there was everything. And I just don't think you can learn that anywhere else, because I think a lot of like art business coaching, it fixates around like the steps. What you do, which I think is good for people like me, is you help us figure out how to do it through ourselves. Because following steps is okay for people who can follow steps, but some people just don't work that way.
And that's really part of that, the intuitive like way in which I teach. I think that I'm so much of what we're doing together is like one-on-one talking like this in a group like setting. And I think that wherever you're at, I'm meeting you where you're at and then helping guide you. And then plus, with the curriculum online, I can direct you to something specific to go research more, read about more. But I'm glad that's that flow, that flowiness and openness in curriculum and learning style is like really, really worked for you, because you were very scattered when we first started. Remember that?
Yeah, well, I had no direction and all the direction in the world at the same time. Like the steps were right there, the playbooks were right there, but this is just not the way I operate. It doesn't work like that. And another thing that I found very useful about I Am Code is that the interviews you gave or had us listen to with real live artists who were doing it, and they all spoke about their journey, and they just were, I I connected with them. You could see that they were very much like you. You just didn't feel alone anymore. You know, I think following steps for somebody who can't, or just doesn't really understand that linear way of thinking is so difficult and also isolating, because you feel like, oh, everybody's is on, you know, step 3 and I can't even muster my way past step 1. So it's super isolating. Whereas what you were teaching was more of an all-inclusive, how can, you were sort of like nobody left behind model. So if somebody was struggling, yeah, somebody struggled, everybody stopped and turned around and said, how can we help? I just come from a community, tribe-based mentality, and I don't operate well without that, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
You don't want, nobody wants to feel alone. And I think that the way that we learn in college, art college and everything like that, I think it's very isolating at times.
You mean like traditional art school experiences?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And I even have felt that way in online learning scenarios also, you know, and that the schooling ends, whether it's like a normal program in physical life, like real life, or even online coaching programs, they end. And that was a huge part of what I did not want to do for you all, is I really wanted to be there as you're growing and evolving. And that's really, I think, worked for you, because where you were a year ago is with just the very beginning stages of where you're at now, 2 years later, and you're selling work, you're 100% full-time artist, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. And
making double what I was making as a travel agent.
oh,
I know, which is not to say that it's like in Los Angeles, not self-sustaining quite yet. You know, I am married, so that gives me a little bit more leeway. But it's more than I was making before. So I just feel like I've traveled through this journey out the other end, which I'm always on the journey, so I'm not done by any means, but now I have the confidence when I go to these art festivals and I'm setting up my booth and all this stuff, I'm just walking up to people and, hey, what do you do? And I'm happy for other people's success rather than feeling small when they succeed. It's just that whole thing I just didn't know really existed, because I just never been a part of it. And my whole childhood was like that. I have wonderful sisters and they've always made me feel included, but you live in a judgy world that will just never, ever give you the benefit of the doubt. If you have the least bit of weakness or fear in you, they're gonna feed on that.
yeah, the art world can be pretty cutthroat in that sense.
You
know, something else I was thinking about with you, I was just reflecting on your journey in our past 2 years, and there's a quality that you now possess that you didn't have, that I think is really key and beautiful to see you embodying, and that is a level of groundedness that attributes to your financial success and your creative success and your consistency to produce, and the level of joy you have in the producing and the sharing online and building and connecting with your community. I mean, like, you have done it, and
well,
it's
do you remember,
grounded.
Yeah, I remember how fearful I was of posting online. That was the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
It was step 1 in Art Storefronts model. I couldn't get past it. Now I'm almost an oversharer.
And it feels actually so integrated into your process, which I keep telling people about. Like, it will be integrated. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
What you've been able to do, and actually another thing I really value in you, as in like student coaching teacher kind of form, relationship is that you listen and you take the actions and you really do the work, and then you go and you research and you deepen that, like even more hardcore. You're so committed and devoted and dedicated, and those are the qualities of like the best student, and that's why you have had the success that has been the most consistent and strong, and I'm so proud of you.
Well, I mean, that's so kind to say, but I'm not downgrading that compliment. I do appreciate it immensely, but I have not always been that way. And I probably won't always be that way about advice that I'm unable to follow. I mean, you can't say I can't. I probably could if I really want to, but it's just not in my nature. I think some of the counsel you gave, because if you recall when we first started and you were doing the Oracle cards, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I took them out.
That didn't speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we got into, what really started to speak to me about your course was the boot camp that you did. Remember the boot camp? Was it last? It was like last.
Yeah.
Was it last August?
I think it was, yeah. For like getting ready for the show.
Yeah. You did a boot camp where you were, number one, teaching people how to create a body of work. Mm-hmm. It spoke to me so strongly. I waited with bated breath for the next meeting, and we were painting online and we were sharing online. So this integration was so strong to me, and watching everybody else's process helped me a lot too, because I wasn't alone, watching Sammy produce and watching, Bree produce. It wasn't an MC, of course, who I'm so, in awe of. So I love her compositions. Yours, the work is just generally work that you could, it was meaty. It really was substantial. Everybody was so talented. And it kind of made you up your game a little bit. And I like challenges like that. I don't want a challenge about who can get more followers on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm really glad that that's been your experience. It's, I think, really inspiring for other people who watch this and listen to your honest experience. Like, wow, how far you've come is incredible, and you've worked really hard for it. And
well, you have to give yourself some credit too from getting me back on track.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I remember that. Like
some of the stuff, you're like, no.
I never said that. Wait, Colleen, where are you getting that right? Never said that. Where did you get that? You're like, well, I read it on this article about social media. Like, I never said to do that.
No. Okay. And then, producing, being fixated on sweatshirts and, it's funny because since I stopped, my online sales have increased because I'm not even worried about it. And, just being able to let people know, if you want something in a custom size and a custom media, I can do that for you, but you're not shoving it down their throat.
Yeah. Really specific, different way of approaching sales and techniques for that. Yeah. So, well, you're doing amazing. So thank you. Okay, wait, one other question.
Okay.
You could, if someone popped in right now and was like, Colleen, I'm sort of on the fence. I'm thinking about joining the Intuitive Artist Institute. Like, do you think I should? What would your advice be to them? They're like, I don't know, it's expensive. I'm afraid to commit to that. I don't know, will I really get value out of it? I know we just talked about you did get a lot of value out of it, but
I got a lot of value out of it. I would really want to talk to them a little bit more because I think you have to be at least open and receptive. If you had somebody come on here who was just like, I've tried everything, I'm going to try this. But they weren't open and receptive, I would be reluctant because it is expensive and you should really, really spend your dollars wisely when it comes to any kind of coaching for the career you want. I guess maybe the reason why is what somebody needs to search for. And if you don't know it, this is where you'll find it. And to get grounded, I do think that there's probably half of the artists that were on the Art Storefronts coaching model that wouldn't be able to be in this. They just wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Art Storefronts is very awesome and specific and very completely different. Like, they don't even compare what I teach and what I do. I mean, they're completely different business models. But yeah, I think that that's also what makes like the type of community we have and the type of artists we align with is not every artist. It's really not for every kind of artist. So
it's perfect that way. And it's so good for you to actually do that interview, because I have a question for you. How many times have you done that interview and said, this is not a fit?
Yeah, many. That's a good question. Yeah, many.
So that's important too. That's important to anybody who does have this opportunity, that if you are a good fit for it, you're going to tell them.
Yeah.
You're not going to just go, you're not out there peddling, subscriptions to just anybody.
No, and that's really cool you said that, because it's really very important to me that we keep the culture of our community really sacred and flow and synergistic and inflow, and that we have the same value system.
Yeah.
And like that openness that you mentioned is so crucial, and I am looking for that like you come to a place where you're like surrendered. Like you can't be, well, yeah, I mean, if there's no room, it all, like it wouldn't work anyway, because this is about learning. So you gotta be open.
We've all had our breakdowns on our chats. I want to do more chats where we've got Rainey and Chelsea and everybody's here and we all get a chat. But I can't imagine with that original crew all on here, we would just be like, because I think everybody is so happy and everybody is getting to a certain level that everybody's really busy. And I get that, but it's like I miss them and I want to know everything they're doing.
Me too. I know. And just for anyone watching this, what Colleen's talking about is the because you have lifetime access to this. The way that the sessions goes, that they're every first 3 Mondays of every month, and so you have access to come in and leave as you please on your own time whenever you're feeling in flow or you need support. So oftentimes there's like a wave of inspiration and you're working on up leveling or growing an aspect of your art or art business, and then you come in and you do a bunch of consecutive sessions, and then you may float out for 6 months. And so a lot of the artists are really digging into their work now after working really closely in our community, and then flowing out so they can go really produce and integrate the teachings. And so that's what we miss, like everyone being in the group, but yeah, it just kind of like ebbs and flows a lot. So
well, and I think it was a little bit different because when I started, we were all still on lockdown.
That's true.
We were all logging in together, going through some really tough emotional times, and that support, like one of my favorite things to do during that time, which, when you think about it, it's kind of like you think very dreary, dark, it just has this sad time. But one of my favorite things to do during that time was to just put it on mute and paint while I'm listening to everybody talk. And it just helps, so that was one of the things that I was referring to. But everybody's so close, and we had the opportunity to meet each other in person, which was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much more than just the teachings. There's opportunities. And I think you go out of your way to create those.
Thank you. Thank you, Colleen. So helpful and inspiring. And I know that your story is going to inspire so many too to commit to their art.
Yes.
And this lifestyle of being an artist and a kind, conscious creator, you know?
Yeah. Yep. It comes through on your work, and even your collectors will notice it.
So true. Just got chills. And that will help you build a legacy with your art. You know, people want art from people that are made by people that feel kind and that are conscious and are someone they really want to invest in. And also our collectors have relationships with us. So it's like, it really pays to do this work and to really devote your life to it. I think, like, what else would you want to be doing? Nothing. I just want to paint, right?
I know. I don't think since I quit being a travel agent and started being an artist full time, I don't think I've taken a day off. Maybe over Christmas, but I haven't felt like it.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Doesn't feel like you're ever working.
Exactly.
Always
playing.
Yep.
It's part of life.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And yeah. So, okay, wait, what's coming next for you? What are you working on? And where do you want to say your website or the best way for anyone to contact you and check out your art?
I am Art by Flynn, and Flynn is with an F, .online. That's my website. And my
Flynn with 2 N's.
Yeah, FLYNN. And my Instagram is @Art by Flynn online, all one word. So that's the best way to find me.
Perfect. And are you working on anything new and exciting?
Yes.
Tell us.
Just leave it at that. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, go check out her and check it out. So, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I actually right now I think I'm going to do a quad because I've been working on these diptychs and beyond series, but I think I'm going to do a quad of 20 by 20 canvases that is an under the pier scene. I already did one that was a triptych and it sold the weekend I brought it out. So I want to do a bigger one.
Awesome.
And so I'm doing an art festival in Sunset Beach in California for Mother's Day, and it's only art. So this is something that's really useful for anybody who's looking to just start getting into the festival vendor world. Don't do things that are street fairs. Don't do things that are kind of a mishmash of everything else. We have something in California called swap meets. I know they aren't everywhere, but the street fairs can be swap meets, and that's like the people who are selling Anderson windows are right next to you, and it's not the place for artwork. Try to stick to art fairs, art festivals and art fair. Make sure art is in the title.
Love that.
Yeah, I learned that one the hard way and the expensive way. Those kind of street festivals are more expensive than art festivals, by the way.
I did not know that.
Wow. Yeah, because the swap meet people, that's all they do, and they sell everything from the kitchen sink. So it costs a lot more to be in those.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that bit of advice. It's really helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, so that's all I'm doing this weekend is I'm at the Mother's Day Art Festival in Sunset Beach.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colleen. I love you. And I'm so excited for everything you're creating.